A stock battle between Shopify and Wix, of which both have fallen by over 50% in the past year or so. Which one do you think is going to emerge the champion and have great potential ahead? Pause this video right now and leave the comment below. Go on, I'm waiting for you. No cheating, please. Alright, before we begin this enticing stock battle, do subscribe to our channel and give us a like for the videos. In return, I will show you a financial meme. With that, let's hop over to our presentation right now. Okay, so let us start off our stock battle. Shopify versus Wix. Okay, so first of all, let us go to the company profile of Shopify. Alright, Shopify, it is building a global commerce operating system that enables merchants of all sizes to sell to anyone, anywhere. Okay, one thing that I find pretty impressive is the funnel effect, okay, where it can help small entrepreneurs upscale to become plus merchants in future. And they don't even have to change the platform at all. Okay, and to put it in layman, right, Shopify actually works the same way as Apple and Google Android system. So for example, when they bring in the external parties or external partners, okay, they call it partners, to build the apps on Shopify App Store, they actually grow together with them. And right now, they already have over 8,000 apps in Shopify's App Store, okay? And their partners have generated over 32 billion in year 2021. Okay, you can see from here they are also partnering a lot of big partners like Google, Meta, PayPal, and all that. Okay, and this is also proof that, right, it works, okay, because of how Shopify has roped in millions of merchants around the world. And merchants who have joined in 2015 have seen sales jump 310% or 3.1 times. That is incredible, right? If you were to look at it on how millions of merchants around the world is using Shopify. Okay, next, let us talk about Wix. Okay, so what is Wix? Wix is actually a leading cloud-based web development platform, okay, providing small businesses and individuals with an easy-to-use platform for creating professional websites. It is founded in 2006, all right, but the company has never recorded an operating profit. So investors may want to take note of this, okay? Even though they have done the IPO in 2013, okay, much earlier compared to Shopify, and although it generates revenue from various sources such as the e-commerce, advertising, and premium services, they have never recorded an operating profit. Okay, and Wix had 200 plus million registered users worldwide. However, many of them are free users, and this is taken as of end December 2022, just 1 month ago. So out of those 200 plus million users, only 6 million of them had a premium subscriptions. And if you were to translate it into percentage terms, it is around 2.7%. A pretty low figure, I would say. Okay, and you can see from here that Wix's main focus is on how to let users create a free website, and from there, okay, they're gonna upsell them like various add-ons and services in order to milk these free customers. Okay, and now let's look at their financials. Okay, so we're gonna compare the financials between Shopify and Wix. Okay, now let us look at the financials between the two companies, Shopify and Wix. So first thing first, let's look at Shopify. We're going to compare the three financial metrics. So first of all is the revenue growth. Okay, when we look at the revenue growth of Shopify, it is fantastic. Okay, it went from 240 million in 2016 to around 5 billion. I think that's more than 20 times. Okay, in just a short span of 6 to 7 years. Okay, that is revenue growth. You will look at the free cash flow trend. Okay, for year 2020 and 2021, there's been a sharp increase in free cash flow, maybe predominantly due to the COVID effect. Okay, where a lot of people are turning online to sell their wares and all that. So they had a very good 1 plus to 2 years before the free cash flow tapers down again. Okay, so right now it's from positive to negative. And let's look at the financial health of Shopify. Okay, when we look at the debt to equity ratio, okay, we can see that they have 912 million of debt, but that is quite manageable as opposed to their equity of 8.7 billion. So if you were to make it into a debt to equity ratio, is only at 10.5%. Okay, and if you were to add in the cash, all right, if you take away the equity and just look purely at cash and equivalents, Shopify has a 4.9 billion worth of cash. Okay, that is I think around 5 times that of the debt. So Shopify has a very strong balance sheet to boot. Now let us hop over to Wix. Okay, the same thing, we're going to look at the revenue growth. Okay, so 220 million, same thing from 2016. Okay, their revenue has grown to 1.37 billion, a good maybe 5 to 6 times, right, over a span of 6 years. Very impressive, although it may be still subpar compared to Shopify. The free cash flow, all right, they have been positive over the years, but I think maybe post-COVID has made them wanted to reinvest more of their free cash flow to churn out more add-ons and things like that. So the free cash flow has actually came down by quite a lot. Right now it's negative. Okay. And last but not least, let's look at the financial health of Wix. Same thing, debt to equity ratio. This is a pretty scary thing to look at when you notice that their equity is actually at a negative 64 million, and the debt is a whopping 926 million. Okay, so if you do the math, it is at a negative 1,400%. Negative, right? A negative 1,400% of debt to equity ratio. Okay, and if you were to include the cash, things may not be so bad. All right, they have a cash equivalence of 1.2 billion compared to the debt of 900 million. Okay, but I would say that just from a quick glance, the debt is still quite a high amount, much more than what a lot of investors can stomach. And over here, you can see from what we have discussed, okay, in the video, revenue of Shopify and Wix are both accelerating. Okay, free cash flow is also the same. They are positive during the COVID boom years, but they have dropped back to being negative. Or for Wix, okay, they are all along positive, but it has actually dipped into the negative mark. for their free cash flow. The reason why we don't look at earnings is because they are both loss making. All right. And if you were to think about it, SaaS players usually their focus would be on more of a free cash flow, because what they want to do is not to earn money, but to actually, increase their top line, and then they have the free cash flow to play around with and to expand, to hire more people and things like that. Okay, and for the financial position, Shopify has I would say, a very stable and a rock solid financial position, coming in at 10.5 percentage for the debt to equity ratio. For Wix itself, all right, is a quite a big red flag at negative 1,400% of debt to equity ratio. All right. So moving on, let's check in on their management team. So let us go to the Shopify one first. Okay, over here you can see that, all right, Shopify's management team, their main focus is perhaps on the founder, okay, Tobias, who has a significant 6.25% ownership stake, and that's almost a 3 billion, okay, value for its current value, okay, and they have various other, okay, fund, what you call that, fund management companies like Marley Gifford, okay, owning a 5%, Morgan Stanley owning a 5%, and ARK Investment owning a 1.1%. Okay, but what is worth noting is that the founder, all right, owns a significant 6.25% here. Okay, next up, let's look at their insider transactions. Okay, there are two main key takeaways here. The first point is we can see the trend of how the senior leaders, all right, Toby, Amy, and Harley, right, they are all the senior management, how they have sold all their stock in 3rd of March, okay, at a price of around $65. Okay, that is three of them all sold at 3rd of March, and subsequently they bought back at just 2 months later, all right, at $33. So you can see how they have sold and buy back. It's like they are professional traders, all right. And okay, for the founder and CEO, okay, he has acquired 20 million worth of shares at around $33 to $35. So this, this can give us sort of like a support level, okay, given that how the founder as well as the senior management are buying back, okay, shares at around $30+ mark. Okay, moving on to Wix. Okay, Wix, we can see from here they have a very I would say they have a lot of owners. Okay, you can see that the same fund management company, Barlier Gifford, all right, owning both Shopify and Wix, but for Wix they own a significant 13.8%. BlackRock coming in at a 7.3%. All right, the founder himself owns 1.6% ownership stake. I would say it's not that significant because it's only a 1.6%, and if you were to look at the current value, it's only at $78 million worth. Okay, so definitely is a much lower value as compared to the Shopify founder. Okay, and if you were to look at the insider transactions again, there are not much transactions. The only significant one is by this activist hedge fund, okay, called Starboard Value LP, where they had built a 9% stake, okay, in this website development company Wix on 16 September 2022. However, we must also take notice that on 5th of December, they have actually sold a small minor stake, okay, worth $26 million, okay, on the 5th of December. All right, so perhaps they have made a big profit, all right, from $78 to $92, and they want to take profit. But this is just something worth noting, right? We have talked about financials, we have talked about the management team. Now let's talk about the growth prospects of the two companies. All right. So for Shopify itself, you can see over here that the e-commerce continues to increase of a higher level compared to the pre-pandemic as well as during the pandemic. So there are two charts over here that I've taken and extracted from the Shopify presentation. One of it is the percentage of the e-commerce sales versus the total retail spend. All right, so although it has came down a bit, okay, after the everyone go back to normalcy, but it is still stabilizing and perhaps increasing going forward. On the other hand, on the other chart, you can also see that the retail e-commerce sales worldwide forecast continues to grow, and it is expected to grow at least, continue on to grow at least to a 7 trillion sales figure as of 2025. All right. And okay, moving on. All right. We can also see that they have a lot of cross-selling opportunities. All right. Okay. So they have many cross and upselling opportunities for Shopify. So one of the cross-selling solutions will be their POS machines. So they are expanding not just e-commerce, they are also moving into the physical retail stores, whereby, like say, maybe if you take locally, you can take, say, Love Potato, right? They have built an online presence, but they are also moving into the physical retail outlets, and they can perhaps just tap on Shopify point of sales platform to just sell into the retail outlets. Okay, and when you remember that we mentioned about the funnel effect, whereby small merchants, once they are having grown their top line, they can actually upgrade to Plus for more compelling new features like the Shopify audiences, B2B sales, and all that. So these are this can translate into many growth prospects or opportunities for Shopify going forward. All right, and another point that keeps coming up is the comparison between Shopify and Amazon. All right, so going back to the company profile, we can see that, okay, Shopify is an e-commerce platform that allows individual brands to build up their online presence. This is very different from Amazon or Shopee, where you are just one of many, okay, online sellers inside their e-commerce website. All right, so in fact, going back to 2015, the year 2015, Amazon shut down their so-called Amazon Web Store, which is supposed to help small and mid-sized retailers create and run their own online shop. So this is something like Shopify and Wix. All right, so Amazon says that, okay, I've been losing the battle compared to Shopify, and they have shut it down since 2015. All right. And as opposed to Shopify, okay, Wix is actually also trying to play a different ball game here. So while Shopify is focused on e-commerce alone, Wix is targeting to be the leading content management system, or what they call CMS player. Okay, and they are taking market share away from legacy players like Magento, WordPress, and so forth. Okay, so you can see from this extracted from their their analyst day. All right, you can see how websites have evolved over the years from what we need to hire some dedicated website development companies, going into WordPress, Magento, self-hosted platforms, and then into this kind of the SaaS CMS platforms. All right. Okay, so for Wix itself, they also demonstrates on how SaaS CMS has grown 20 times over the past decade, and its market share of all CMS websites has jumped from 18 to 37%. So that is a very, I would say, significant market share as opposed to when we look at all these content management systems websites. And as the whole world continues to develop more websites, all right, this total addressable market will continue to increase for Wix itself. And the last growth story that I would like to also highlight for Wix is that if you look at this image over here, all right, each cohort, okay, for Wix itself, like they split up the cohort into the various years, and each cohort going back to 2010 has been spending more in Wix platform itself, demonstrating the stickiness, all right, of its platform and the user base. And based on the 2022 Analyst Day presentation, even if Wix were to stop accepting any new users, all right, the existing cohorts will still be expected to generate 15.7 billion in future bookings. So that is an incredible, thing that that has generated into a very good tailwind for Wix itself. All right, I will also leave the link for the Analyst Day presentation in the comments below. All right, so now let's dive into a quick competitor analysis using StoreLeads.app. The StoreLeads.app website, this is a website that you can utilize to check out various e-commerce data. Okay, like for example, the platforms, the categories, the kind of social media, as well as products, a lot of things over here. Okay, but for today, we're just going to dive into the country over here. So we have already pre-ticked, okay, Singapore, and we can see that there are 36,000 e-commerce stores listed in this website. Okay, and among these 36,000, Shopify actually commands the lion's share of 14,600 stores. WooCommerce at second place for 10,000 online shops. And WooCommerce is a plugin for WordPress, and that explains why there are almost 10,000 e-commerce stores using WooCommerce. Okay, Wix, the one that we want to compare against Shopify, comes in at a distant third, okay, at 3,700 stores. Okay, so we can see right off the bat that Shopify actually has a lot more merchants, or maybe I would say five times that of the Wix platform. Okay, the next thing that we want to look at is whether merchants using Shopify are more established or bigger compared to those using Wix. Okay, and for this, we're gonna just click on Shopify. Okay. So it takes a while to refresh. Okay, so Shopify, you can see there are various merchant brands that we are familiar with, such as Sony, okay, Secret Lab, Lovisa, the jewelry brand, Skechers, the the branded footwear brand. Okay, Prism Plus, the TV. Okay, and if you scroll down, you can see a lot more familiar brands such as City Chain, the one selling luxury watches, Robinsons, Delifrance, and more. Okay, now let us hop over to Wix. Okay. So once we tick on Wix, okay, we can see merchants like Amy Cake selling the durian cakes, and Acha Affair, okay, Sunray maybe the eyewear brand, Yongkang TCM, New Bra, okay, and so on and so forth. Okay, JNC Bakery. So just offhand, when you look at all these different merchants, the different brands, you can get the feel that the more established and the bigger brands are using Shopify as opposed to Wix, and Wix usually has this kind of small and mid-size merchants. Okay, and when we look at perhaps like given the risk of a recession, merchants which are smaller that are tagged to Wix, they will face maybe a higher risk of bankruptcy and that kind of things. So I would say that just from this quick comparison, we can see that Shopify is leading this better for the e-commerce platform. So now let's come back to the peer evaluation. So we have picked various e-commerce stores over here, like BigCommerce, Squarespace, Wix, ST, and Shopify. And what you can see from the chart over here is that Shopify is trading at the most expensive valuation at 8.8 times price to sales ratio among the various e-commerce firms. All right, so they are on average only trading at around 4.1 times. So Shopify is almost more than two times that of the peer average. However, there's one important thing to note, where is that Shopify is the number one e-commerce platform in the US, and worldwide it is actually the number two, lagging only behind the WordPress commerce plugin WooCommerce. So I would say that Shopify actually deserves a premium valuation for its brand recall and dominance. And whereas for Wix, it is trading at around 3.4 times price to sales. Pretty reasonable if you were to compare it to Squarespace and BigCommerce, whereby Wix is actually a more, I would say popular, website design or website, the content management systems website. All right. Okay, so to sum up, all right, so both these founder-led e-commerce platforms have shown tremendous top-line growth in the past and will probably continue to do so given their ability to deliver value to the customers. Okay, but that being said, if you want me to pick one winner among the two, I would say that Shopify is my stock pick over here. Okay, the reason is actually quite simple. So my personal thinking is that, all right, Wix attracts many newbies who simply want to get an online presence, and hence they may not be willing to commit to a subscription plan, or they may avoid paying anything or doing any add-ons with Wix. All right. On the other hand, Shopify are able to attract merchants who are already selling online goods. And if you were to think from an e-commerce shop owner point of view, once I start raking in good money with Shopify, there's not much reason for me to change to another platform, given the small monthly investment into Shopify versus what I can potentially earn from the e-commerce platform. And in the event that my sales are good, okay, and the online stores keeps getting bigger, I can actually upgrade to maybe Shopify Plus. All right, and enables me to continue growing my business, and I don't have to risk everything by reinventing the wheel and choosing a cheaper platform and things like that. So that will make me a very sticky customer for Shopify itself. Okay, we have come to the end of this video and we hope that you have enjoyed it. Alright, if you want more tips and advice on how to invest for the better, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell notification. Next up, if you want to check out 5 undervalued stocks, alright, make sure you watch this video over here. Okay, I will see you next time. Bye bye.